Welcome everybody back to the Fixing Football podcast, the greatest footballing podcast in the world, where we try and solve all of the issues going on in the beautiful game. This week I'm joined by a man who is as wise as he is handsome. Liam O'Meara, welcome.
Hello. Thank you, Martin, for that compliment. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
How was your bank holiday been?
Alright, clean the garden. That was nice. Spent a bit of time with family today, so it's been alright. Obviously, nice day at the football on Friday, but we'll come to that. But yeah, what about yours, Martin Naylor?
Are you alright? What's going on? There's a full stop in between every word. Right, no, I'm fine, mate. I've been working, but it's been nice to have a long weekend. Another man joining us tonight is someone who is a lot more handsome than he is wise. Luke Foley, how are you doing, mate?
That wasn't really a compliment, Liam. Naylor.
Of course it was.
I'd rather be wise than good looking.
I know, but you don't get to choose, unfortunately. So, it's just, I'd take it. How are you?
Yeah.
How's your bank holiday been?
Would you rather be wise than good looking?
I'd rather be one of the two than neither.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying you are, Naylor?
I am neither. Yes, neither handsome or wise.
Yeah, my bank holiday's been all right. Not done much. Done DIY stuff like Liam.
Please tell us more. What DIY have you done, Luke?
I've been putting up IKEA shoe rackings, and what else have I put up? A coat hanger.
The old flat pack coat hangers.
Can't see like getting handy and changing rooms, building up your IKEA and setting coat hangers up. What do you have to do for coat hangers?
Flat pack coat hangers.
They're pretty flat, aren't they already? Like what?
This one wasn't. I'd like 6 prongs going off it.
So this is a world we can't relate to, Liam. Luke lives a different threshold than what we can achieve. Listen, Liam, I want to start with you.
I want to start with this coat hanger. I want to see coat hanger.
No, Luke can't even pronounce the name of it that was on the box. I'm almost certain. But
yeah, it's Swedish. That's why.
Liam, it's been the start of the playoffs. So Friday was the first leg of Bolton's playoffs against Barnsley, and you were there, live in the flesh. Tell us about it. Tell us what you think about Bolton's chances going forward, and it was a good win.
Yeah. I must admit, I was quietly confident going into the game. Not so much because of us, but because of Barnsley's form hasn't been great. And obviously they've sacked the manager, not been able to replace the manager, and had quite a few people saying no to the job by all accounts. So they're in a bit of a mess. The ticket sales for the Barnsley side were not great, so their fans didn't have an awful lot of belief going into the game. So I did, whilst I played it down when anyone asked me about it, sort of internally, I did think that we would go there and do the job. I think it played out that way. I think we were very dominant, despite us not necessarily controlling the ball, which is very much against what we do. But when we did gain possession, we seemed to get onto them very, very quickly. We played very well. Football's a very interesting thing, and I think one thing people forget about the playoffs is that they are invariably the better teams in the league that are in them. It's not just a cup competition. It is usually, there's very little, regardless of where you finish in it.
Yeah.
So Barnsley, despite, in my opinion, not playing that well, could easily have come away with a 2-2 draw. Like it was one of those games where we were good value for our 3-1, yet lucky to actually get it in the end.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
So, yeah, in terms of chances going forward, we could hardly ask to be in a better position than we are now. Obviously, the job isn't done, and it's going to be a very nervous atmosphere, I think, tomorrow night. Obviously, we're recording on Monday. I know Martin doesn't like to share that secret, but it is Monday.
We say it every week.
Yeah, well, it's not strictly where you could pretend that it's the same night, when even though everyone knows it's not. It's like we go into that game with a little bit of fear, but especially if they score early. my head will be in pieces if they get an early goal. But we'll see. We'll see. Obviously we should have an element of confidence that we could be going back to Wembley for the second time in 12 months.
I think it's
as it's called now.
I think it's fair that you was nervous going in because Bolton's away form's just been that bad. Really, that anything could have happened in that, and could have left yourself with a lot to do on Tuesday night.
Our home record, and I think from the last 12 games, we've won 10, drawn 2 at home in the league.
I did. There was a website and you could split the form tables up into home and away, and Bolton are top by away actually in home form, but they're about 17th when it comes to away form. If you split the table into home and away, so
it comes with a playing style, I think. It comes with a playing style. But it looks like a little bit more of an away performance, I would say.
I think,
in this game.
Like I said to you in the group, but 3-1. I thought 2-0 probably tells a better reflection of the match because I don't think they created a lot. And with them getting it to 2-1, I thought that could have made the second tie interesting. But it was a well-deserved win, 3-1, and that. I mean, it was it's just a good win. I'm happy. Luke, big question: what's the cash out at?
Last time I checked, it was £127.
Oh, good job you built that shoe rack, isn't it, Luke? You'll be needing it, I think.
Well, the shoes are £220, so fingers crossed.
Just remember who bought you them shoes.
Liam's
influence
all down
on
to Liam.
Liam's influence on the Bolton Wanderers first team.
That's why I'm
based on my prediction. Whereas I've put a £500 bet on your prediction that United would finish above City this season. My cash out isn't looking too strong on that one, unfortunately.
That's an interesting comment you've just said there, Liam, because I'm sure you said it was a certain that Bolton were going to finish top 2. So what's gone on?
I said go up, and I also didn't say certain because I would never use that word.
You said guaranteed.
Well, so I've changed words. Okay, so that's interesting straight away. I never said either of them words because I'm not a fucking idiot. But I did think that we were one of the 2 best teams in the league. I did say that. Portsmouth have surprised me. They've had a brilliant season.
But Liam said that, and just for reference, Liam said that, and Luke immediately put £100 on Bolton Wanderers to get promoted. With Liam's guarantee.
This is an outrage.
That's Liam, what he said.
He said 100% we're going up.
That's a third different way I've said this, apparently. Now. So we don't have certain, guaranteed, and 100% we've now had. Of 3 things I never said.
He said, bet your house on it.
There you go. 4 ways to do it. Right. So
I said we'd be one of the 2 best teams in the league. We were the 3rd best team in the league. It's not the worst prediction anyone's ever made about anything, is it?
Well, he was top when you bottled it.
No, we were never top. And again, another thing that you've made up again.
We could have gone top
with goals in hand. We could have gone top. We had games in hand.
The
games in hand were against Wigan. It seemed like every time we needed a win, it was always Wigan we were playing. So, and Blackpool. I think, Wigan, Blackpool, and someone else the games in hand were. And the Wigan and Blackpool games are away. And I think I told you exactly how them games would go. I think I was definitely predicted them to, I think.
Right,
Wigan at home.
That nicely wraps up this section of Liam versus Luke. Next week we're going to discuss Luke's predictions for the table, because I think we need to review our predictions from the beginning of the season. I'm looking forward to doing that, but I don't think we can do it until the title is wrapped up.
Maybe do it the week before.
So I think it's going to go down to the last week at the moment. So
and then we have some idea of what Luke said before, whether Luke would prediction of Liverpool winning the league will come true, or
Luke might change it before then. He's just changed what you said 4 times in one sentence.
I never change anything ever.
Mind a lot. Notice it.
My word is my bond.
Martin, I never actually asked then. Are Bolton going to Wembley?
That's where the playoff final is, isn't it? So yeah, I hope that yes, yeah. At this stage, they are. They're not gonna lose at home on Tuesday night.
Are you two going to get tickets and watch your hometown club compete at Wembley?
Unfortunately, I'm working. Oh, sorry. Tuesday night I won't be there.
It'll be
Wembley,
Saturday, the 18th, 4:15.
I may be there, but I don't know yet. We'll see.
You can dig out your Bolton shirt.
I am working, but it's not set in stone. So I'm looking forward to it though. So
I'm not looking forward to that. If we do get to the final, that will be a horrendous experience. Final. That's not fun. That's not fun at all.
was the last time you went up to the Premier League via the playoffs?
It was Preston 3-0 win.
Preston, yeah. Ricardo Gardner.
David Moyes is Preston, which I think is a good slide to get into our topic today, which we'll come to later. That's a shame we didn't ask later because we're going to Arsenal and then talk about the big game tonight first, haven't we? But
we could talk about Arsenal for a minute if you want.
I'd love to talk about Arsenal for a minute. I'm sure Luke would too. So, Martin, I'll ask you. Are City going to drop points? Are you going to be crowned Premier League champions this season?
Well, I was hoping we were going to be sitting here saying, oh my God, it's happening. And somehow they'd have dropped points this weekend. But who were they playing? Who did they batter? Wolves. Gosh, Wolves just
the reason I
bent
asked it
over.
that way is I could ask you how good were Arsenal, but everyone knows Arsenal are good. Like,
yeah,
there's almost no point saying that now. It's just now, are you going to win the league or not? Innit? That's basically what Arsenal's existence is about.
Yeah, and I said a few weeks ago, I had a vision, and I had to say it out loud in case it came true. But we won the league on goal difference, and a City draw at any point now, with us carrying on winning our last two games, would do that. Providing City don't go and beat West Ham 16-0 on the last day of the season.
How are Tottenham going to be your saviours?
It doesn't seem like it. They seem to be bending over backwards for anyone who'll come at them at the moment. They've been shipping goals left, right, and centre. Tottenham are really poor. And I think we all praised, or you praised Postecoglou when he came in because you watched him a bit more at Celtic, and I think everyone was impressed in the first 10 games, but they've been so shit. But going back to City, I'm just desperate for them to mess up, and they just don't. And if we win our last two games, we'll have won 18 out of the last 20 games of the league season. And to go on a run like that, we've already won our most games ever in the Premier League. We'll probably reach our highest ever points total in the league, and to still not win it is mental. Sort of feel like how Liverpool fans felt for the last couple of years.
I think like you can almost understand why Jurgen Klopp becomes such a wanker, like having to deal with that reality all the time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like last time he smiled was about 3 years ago. Like it's just completely relentless. Luke, just a quick one with you because obviously you've been keeping a close eye on City's progress this season. What do you think? Do you think City will slip up, Luke?
Probably not. No, definitely not. Actually, I think if we look at previous seasons, City have they just get to the end of the season, they steamroll it. I think you kind of give credit to Liverpool, I suppose, for actually them winning the league with a City team like that. And I think, to your point, with regards to Arsenal, is you've got to be perfect and you've got to take your chances when City do slip up. And I think the loss was against Fulham, and then the loss against Villa.
Fulham and West Ham. We've lost twice to Villa, Fulham, West Ham, and the Newcastle game, which I'd love to revisit that at some point because that was an amazing day. But we've lost 5.
You got to be near perfect. That's the thing.
And that's the difference. That there's two. So City have around the same amount of wins. City just have 2 more draws instead of losses than us. Like we beat City, we beat Liverpool. We haven't lost against any of the big 6 teams. And apart from the 2 games, well, the big 6, the actual big 6, but like Villa are in there. Those are points we've slipped up at, and there's no real shame in that because Villa are a really good side. But yeah, you have to be so brilliant to beat this team. It's a joke, and they've gone for ages without De Bruyne, and they've had Haaland out for a lot of time, and they're still probably going to win the league. So I don't know. I'm hoping they've got Fulham away, Spurs away, which they have struggled at, but Spurs seem to be doing anything and everything they can to, I don't know, be on the worst run of form I've ever seen from a side at this stage of the league, and then West Ham on the last day of the season.
Well, the big match next week, Martin.
Yeah.
Trip to Old Trafford. What do you
Can I
think?
ask you, Luke, just before we go on, just obviously while we're talking about City, do you want City to win?
I don't want anyone to win the league.
Someone's got to.
Yeah, I want United to win the league. Why is
But
it every time it's you ask, oh, who won the league? Arsenal or City? Neither. None. Just United. Right. You don't have to pick someone.
It's gonna be one of them two, Luke. So which of both?
I don't care. I don't care.
You do care. You will have a preference whether you're happy to stay or not. That's up to you. But you will have an internal preference because
I'm not Johnny 5 teams. I have United. Just United. That's it.
Interesting.
Couldn't care.
This isn't our WhatsApp group, Liam. You can use more words than interesting.
I want Arsenal to win mine.
Of course you do.
Why?
Because I'm sick of City winning every year. And I don't understand why everyone likes City winning every year. I don't get it. Like, everyone hates Bayern, everyone bums City, and I just don't. I don't when the Premier League's becoming, in my opinion, just like the Bundesliga. But everyone seems to be happy about it. And I don't really understand why.
We could speak about opposition fans another time, I think, why they want to go into it, but it's pretty obvious why teams just are happy with the status quo. But I think we'll touch on that another time. So title race, yeah, I'm hoping Fulham do it, and then I hope Tottenham bum them. There's a lot of bumming going on in this conversation, in this podcast so far.
I think you two have been bumming each other. Each other's teams to win.
Yeah, I want Bolton. I've always wanted Bolton to win. I'm a former employee. What we're humming at? Use words.
It's his local team.
I like Bolton. I just never supported them because they play horrific football in a super cold stadium. I don't want to watch that. But the
football's better now, to be fair.
Luke, what was your first ever football match that you went to?
I think my dad took me to Old Trafford in a league match when I was about 8.
Remember it?
No.
Not remember who they were playing?
Not a clue. I knew we won, but I do remember. The crowd was singing some song about Victoria Beckham. My dad was like, "You should really listen to that."
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want.
That's the one. Yeah.
I think I know that song.
It was taking up the arse or something.
Yeah. I know that song.
Liam has sung that many a time. Practices it in his backyard. Liam, what was your first football match?
I don't remember the exact game, but I remember my first season. I had a season ticket in the final year at Burnham Park, which is the 96-97 season, in the Lever End, which was the cop stand at Burnham Park behind the home end goal. And I remember certain memories and games, it's all sort of floods into one, really. There's some specific results I remember. I remember the FA Cup it might have been League Cup actually beating Spurs 6-0. Because we were very good that year. And the year, we run away with the league last year at Burnham that year.
Did you get promoted that year?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because the first
I remember
year,
all the players. Yeah, I remember all the players. So like the team was built around John McGinley and Blake up front. Nathan Blake was particularly good that season. Off the bench we had Mixu Patalainen. Wingers
Mixu Patalainen.
Yeah, wingers of Michael Johansson. Alan Thompson was playing then. In midfield it was Per Franson. Can't remember the other midfielder. Top of my head.
I mean Keith Brannigan in net.
Keith Brannigan in net, yeah. Gudny Bergson at the back. Can't remember who else was at the back that season.
Mike Whitlow?
No, well before Mike Whitlow.
Really?
Yeah. Mike Whitlow was like 5 years later. This is early. This is early. And I'll try and remember. And I won't Google it. I'll see if I can remember for the end of the episode. But that was my first season.
My first game was Bolton v Sheffield United. But it must have been in Division 1 or the old Division 1 in the Championship now. It must have been because Sheffield United hadn't been up to the Premier League before that.
Can you remember Bolton were in?
Can I remember what kit Bolton were in?
Yeah.
No, but I remember it was 2-2. Bob Taylor scored and Dean Oldsworth.
Okay, so Bob Taylor, Dean Oldsworth, that will be the year we went up, I imagine.
It must have been.
Oldsworth. Yeah.
But also what's like interesting, that was the first match I ever went to. Dean Oldsworth scores an 89th minute equaliser. And my first day working at Bolton Wanderers was the day he took over with Ken Anderson.
Oh, full circle.
So our lives have been intertwined ever since.
With the beginning of the Bolton downfall, Martin Naylor starting at Bolton Wanderers.
Yep. I was there through all them.
The untold story.
We'll do a paid special, an extra. Luke, obviously no Man United game this week. I'm trying to remember the result from last weekend. I know, we're moving on from that. The result from last weekend was a
Burnley draw.
Burnley draw. Yeah. I actually think we predicted that. So obviously recording this Monday night, Man United about to play Crystal Palace away. Do you want to give us a quick prediction or thoughts or anything going into this match? Sorry, hold on. Before you do that, you brought up the match next weekend.
Yes, the big one.
Yeah, Arsenal v United at Old Trafford. And providing we need to win, which we will do, I think we will win. I just hate the fact that we have to go to Old Trafford to win, to stay in it, which is likely going to be the case. More than likely, City beat Fulham, and we obviously need to go to Old Trafford and win. The other issue with that is City play first thing on Saturday, and we play 4:30 Sunday. So I think that big gap, depending on what goes on in the City match, that's they may have some run-on effect from that. And if City do drop points, I pray for yours and Man United fans' mental health after what we're going to do to them.
Do you think, what was it that week? Was it a Saturday where City drew? Can't remember who it was. And it was the other kickoff.
City drew and then Arsenal and Liverpool both lost, didn't they?
Yeah. Do you think that was the turning point? Do you think it was a big one? Yeah, it was a big opportunity to that, but do you think that was...
Maybe. It's definitely a factor. And it's just another factor that I've picked up on. The fact that City play 12:30 Saturday and then our match is 4:30 Sunday. Obviously the players will be aware of it. And yeah, it's just something else to consider. I'd love to see what our team looks like if City do drop points away at Fulham. But we'll see. Anyway, going on to Man United last week and this week.
Yeah. So, form's not been great last 6 matches. I think it's 4 draws, 1 loss, and 1 win. So, I don't know. I've kind of switched off now for the season for United, which is not great, and it's not obviously not good for the pod, but it's just been a terrible season. But as you said, mine with this Ten Hag interview he's done with Gary Neville, all the answer will be the answer is what's his name for Barcelona?
De Jong, Frankie
De
De Jong.
Jong. He is the answer apparently.
He's the only man who can save Man United, apparently.
What one sign is going to say everything, and I think it's interesting that he's obviously mentioned about the Harry Kane stuff, saying that we did want him, but we went for Højlund, someone that needs developing and needs time still. But we didn't need someone that we need times. We need someone to make an impact for the season.
It's a mad thing to say. Like, I want to, just for anyone who hasn't seen it, but Eric Ten Hag did interview Gary Neville and said we was looking at Harry Kane, guarantees you 30 goals a season. We couldn't get him, so we went with someone who is, we think, going to get us 30 goals in a season in the future.
Yeah, a talent, but it's just baffling, isn't it?
Like there was no other options.
Yeah, it just tells you the kind of mess or the management side of it's just horrendous, and it just to think the potential he's going to get more time next season. That's but I think it goes to the point, and probably what we're going to talk about in a bit. It's just I think the managers out there's not really kind of any pickings for the Man United job,
which is mad to think in itself. Like, we take the piss, but Man United is still one of the biggest clubs in the world, and it's a massive job. Is it too big, though? Do you think it's not just in terms of a big club size, is the job that the manager needs to do coming in too big?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for someone like Ancelotti to come in, he's obviously a great manager, but there's so much shit going on elsewhere. Like, it's not even attractive to him to come, or like Tuchel or something like that. He's got so much more work to do than he has to do at, say, Bayern or anywhere else he's been.
And that's the problem with United. There's so much work and it's going to take time to sort it out. But United fans are not going to. We're not going to take time now. However, we've tried with Ten Hag, we've tried with all the managers. Give him 3 years. It's a vicious circle, really, because we're saying, you give it time, and then it comes to 2 years in, and you're like, get rid of him. He's terrible. So, but the job's it's that much of a mess. It does need maybe someone that's not recognised at the highest level, like a top manager, but someone who's, I don't know, under the radar, but has a good record with maybe I don't know. Liam will probably have probably better managers I could probably suggest a few than me. I don't know. I honestly don't know who would come in to sort it. Not Southgate, Liam. Before you say,
You want my honest opinion? Who I
Go
would
on.
go for if I were you? I'd go for Potter, to be honest. With the structure you're putting in place, I would probably go with someone like that who has got a proven track record of making players in front of him better.
Yeah.
That's probably what I would do. Tuchel's probably the obvious answer.
Yeah.
Knowing that he's going to be available. But I don't see it as much with him, to be completely honest. I think it looks to me like you're getting quite a domestic setup in the background. Almost the best of British sort of talent. And I think Potter aligns with that a little bit. And he'll be someone that's, I think, privileged to be there. I think that's important.
Can I just say, I have a point about Potter, and I sort of think that he may be being lined up as Southgate's replacement for England. So do you think that all depends on what happens after the Euros? Because we haven't had really any announcement about Southgate's future. So do you think
I think Southgate's going. I think everything's alluded to this being Southgate's last tournament. Whether even if he wins it, or even if he absolutely semi-finals it, then it feels like there's one more tournament in. I think this is where they'll draw the line on that. I think that's a good point to raise. I think there is a potential of that he would be lined up for the England job. I think they might go away though, England. I think they might go Lee Carsley, who's doing the 21s at the moment. I think they'd probably do that.
I've heard
maybe
that lined up.
Gary O'Neill as well.
I've heard the Lee Carsley one, but I mean, at least Southgate had some club management experience, Lee Carsley has only under 21 international management under his belt, and I think they do like that progression to bring through and to prove that St George's Park is working. But I don't think that's the way to go personally. But anyway, Luke.
Just on, I think Liam's got a good point in regards to the domestic side of it. I think if you look back all the kind of winning teams now, who's won obviously the league, they have got kind of core English or British base in them. Like Liverpool, obviously Henderson. You've got you men now with Declan Rice. You've got City with Phil Foden and Kyle Walker. I mean, they've always been United's long list. England players. I think there is something in there where if you bring in a more domestic team and try and bring in some more domestic players, I think maybe that's the way forward. I know you're gonna chuck Rashford at me now. So
no, I was gonna say, Luke. All we asked you was what score do you reckon it's going to be tonight?
No, it is what.
Oh, are you going to win tonight, Luke?
1-1.
No Bruno, is there? Bruno Fernandes out. Maguire out.
Well, I think Ten Hag, like I said it in the last pod I was on in regards to the defensive partnerships, that we've had like 30 different kind of throughout the season. There's not been.
It's got to be hard to predict, though, isn't it? Like, it's hard to set up if it could be any fucker there. Like, you don't know who to play. Maybe there's mystery in that.
And has that worked?
Well, you'd be shit anyway, so who knows? Like,
well, it's not worked, Liam. I'll answer it for you. It's not worked. So 1-1. That's what I predict.
So, are you going to keep Ten Hag, Luke? No.
Well, like I said, it looks like they're backing him, which is going to be the worst if it comes. You don't want to get rid of a manager like 3-4 months in. I think that's.
I honestly think, right, that they are thinking of keeping him, and I think he's shitting himself, and that's why he's getting so weird all of a sudden in his press conferences. He's trying to make himself look as fucking stupid as possible with things that he's saying, because he's realised that actually they're thinking of keeping me. I'm not going to get my big payout here. So he's coming out with some absolute nonsense to try and polarise himself even more. You can't move forward with that clown in charge.
I think was Bayern interested in him? I've heard some rumours that Bayern might be interested in him.
But Bayern's a shit show. They've had Ralph Rangnick turn them down this week. They can't get a manager for love and money. They might not keep it too cool, them men. Or getting Flick back is probably an option.
Nagelsmann I heard Nagelsmann was meant to be going back as well. That they spoke about.
Signed a new contract.
Oh.
So, no, probably not.
Probably not.
I mean, Almiron's still kicking around, isn't he? Which, obviously, he was linked with Bayern, but he's also been linked with another job that has been potentially taken up tonight. Hasn't it, Martin? Can you tell us what job he was linked with?
Chelsea. No, he was obviously linked with the West Ham job. Breaking news: David Moyes has announced, or West Ham have announced, that David Moyes will be stepping down at the end of the season. So to kick off the managerial merry-go-round. But also sort of running parallel with that is the news that they'd almost agreed terms with, and I'm not great at saying his name, is it Lopetegui? the former Wolves manager, former Real Madrid manager, a really good coach by all accounts, that he has agreed terms with West Ham and nothing's done, according to the Twitter journalists that I follow. But yeah, it's a big one. Do you want to get into Moyes now? Should we talk about it?
Seems like a good time. I can see Luke's got something he wants to say.
We didn't really wrap up Man United, but I think we'll leave it at 1-1. I think Luke sidestepped enough questions there to signal that we need to round it up. Right, West Ham. Liam, why on earth are the current European Conference League champions rallying for their manager to go? He's on track. He's still within a chance of getting them into Europe again this season. Why have the fans not been happy with Moyes? I've never really understood this.
Because, Martin, they're not playing the West Ham way.
But what is that? I think that's been the big question.
Good question, Martin, because let me talk about West Ham managers of my lifetime. Harry Redknapp. What's the Harry Redknapp way? It's just basically putting a lot of players in there hoping something happens, right? Who else have we got? Kirbishley. What's okay? Big Sam. We've had
Pardew.
Pardew, yeah, Pardew way. Who else have we had there? Slaven Bilic, the Bilic way. That was a little bit fruitier. What the fuck's the West Ham way?
The West Ham way to me seems to be we want to play fun football and get relegated and challenge in the FA Cup. I don't really understand what the West Ham way has ever been. People talk about they go back to 1966 when you start talking about the West Ham way, and Bobby Moore gets thrown at your face.
The Academy of Football. Sorry, the Academy of Football.
All in our lifetime, all West Ham's decent players they've ever produced have left. They've never done anything until,
and they've not even stuck around. Like Declan Rice is the only one that's stuck around for a bit.
Yeah.
Usually they leave when they're like 19, and West Ham then boo them for the rest of their careers. To the point where you only remember that they played for West Ham when you're watching them on telly playing against West Ham. You're like, oh yeah, Lampard did play for West Ham. Yeah, think because that's how long ago it was.
Joe Cole, Michael Carrick, Rio Ferdinand, they all had a go and like never to be seen again after a few appearances. Yeah, I don't know. That I can't get me around until last season. I mean, they had a poor domestic season last year. They got 40 points. They finished like 15th or 16th. 40 points is like the bare minimum what you need to get traditionally. So to then go on and win a European tournament is an unbelievable achievement. It's right up there. It will be for his career. The checkered Man United blip in the middle, but other than that, Moyes' career, that's going to be his defining moment. And to think that West Ham fans still haven't been happy with the day-to-day, I've never understood it. And I think he's a good manager.
They've been in the European competition 4 seasons in a row now.
Yeah, incredible.
And this isn't a new thing, by the way, right? This isn't new about this thing about the playing stuff. They were saying this when they were pushing for top 4 2-3 years back. They weren't happy then when Souček was scoring headers every week. Got about 30 headers in a season. And like, they weren't happy then. They were like, oh, this isn't good enough. You're third in the league. Yeah, well, we need a proper manager now that's going to play some football. Like, what are you on about? Like, what are you on about? The best football is winning football.
Yeah. Didn't Allardyce go and keep him up 1 year? I'm sure he was in a...
No, he brought them up.
Oh, yes, that's right, he did, yeah.
And then consolidated them. Before they all turned on him as well.
Is it not Moyes' second season at West Ham?
Yeah, his first time round was a...
Did he not get relegated?
No, they got sacked for this exact same reason, that they needed to move on, they wanted to try something new, and then who was it they got in? I can't remember who they got in.
It might have been when Bilic came in. That might have been when Bilic came in, I'm not sure.
and then it pressed the panic button again and got Moyes back. And they after the year they were struggling for relegation, and he got them to safety. And then even at that point, the fans were like, "Right, he's done his job now. Let's get rid." As if like treating David Moyes like he's some fire in case of emergency hit this manager. This is a brilliant manager. Like, he's not going to be short of options. It's the way they've gone about it, the fans as well. They've been relentless at him. Like, almost not letting him enjoy his success there. Like, determined to make sure that it's not deemed a success. It makes me fucking sick, to be honest.
Who do you think the West Ham board, the owners, Karen Brady and I always get the others, David Sullivan. I nearly said the other. No. David Gold.
David Gold, yeah. Rest in peace, David.
Which I made that mistake earlier on. But do you think they'll regret this? I mean, say they do bring in Lopetegui and he starts off next season. He's a good, well-established manager with, European pedigree. But, and you say that because he managed Real Madrid, but at some point everyone's managed Real Madrid.
It's like Sevilla as well. He was particularly successful at Sevilla. And Wolves, to be fair. But he was very successful at Wolves.
I thought, Wolves playing some really good football, and I think that only broke down because...
This is where I don't get disappointment, to be honest. Because he's quite a defensive manager.
No, it's like good football, successful football, whatever it was. Yeah. I'm not saying I watch Wolves week in, week out.
I don't see... This is where I see the problems. Because the fans want rid of a manager that is defensive, but they basically brought him in a defensive manager. And it's a little bit Emperor's New Clothes to me. But maybe they might get away with what I'm now calling the Enzo Fernandez effect, where because of the name, because his name's a bit more, has a bit more flair to it, you just assume that it's better. And I'm thinking that might be, essentially they've just got, if you said David Moyes in Spanish, it'd be Julian Lopetegui. It's a very similar appointment. And I don't believe, listening to TalkSport today, and Alex Crook was reporting this live, that all the West Ham board are completely on board with this. Essentially, Sullivan's made this decision executively that that's who they're going for, when Tim Stuyton, the director of football, and Mark Noble, who's like some kind of Cockney consultant to the place, were still trying to get Almiron in, and weren't completely... I think that was still happening this morning. But Sullivan's basically just sort of done it once himself, possibly announced it to the press to make sure it leaks like fuck, and once that happens, it's pretty much fact then, it has to happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're not completely in line with it, by all accounts.
But it's mad because they've given Moyes the money to spend, and he's brought in players to, try and play more attractive football, like Kudus and the guy in midfield.
I'm conscious going to talk. I feel like I'm talking too much, but
no, it's fine.
I did quite a lot of reading at this beginning of the season. I think I mentioned, reverting back to the preview, I think we talked about this quite a lot, this idea that at that point, David Moyes and Tim Stuyton, the director of football, were at loggerheads quite a lot over signings. So Moyes was looking at players a la James Ward-Prowse, Harry Maguire, if you remember.
The typical Moyes signings, yeah.
Whereas Tim Stuyton was looking at these like Kuda signing, these types of players that they brought in.
What's the guy in midfield called? What's the... No, the... Is it Alvarez? I'm trying to think of his name. The centre midfielder, not Paquetá.
It's Alvarez,
Edson Alvarez.
Alvarez, yeah.
Very good player.
Which
but again,
probably saying he's maybe Tim Stuyton.
Yes, yeah.
The type of players that Moyes was interested in. Because Matt Jarvis can only play for so long.
Cresswell.
Well, maybe that's the reason then. Maybe that's the reason, Liam. If maybe Moyes...
No, you're probably right. Internally, there's probably issues, but I don't see why it's... My biggest thing with this is the way the fans have been with Moyes. That's
me too.
what I can't get my head around at all.
Do you not, Luke? Do you not see this on the horizon for you? Because obviously you were saying about no managers being out there, potentially managers coming in. You're building this setup of a big sort of what's the word? Big infrastructure behind the manager, and at some point these people are going to butt heads on certain things, and the fans are going to pull one way or the other. Do you not see this on the horizon for yourselves?
I think, well, it happened in the past with United with Van Gaal. That's exactly the same. He won the FA Cup, but if you remember that season, the fans had turned on him because of the style of play. They were saying it's not the United way, and it was very defensive. So, yeah, I think for me, well, from a Ten Hag point of view, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think in the background they're putting a structure together, and he's gonna probably butt heads when he wants to put his own system in, whatever that system is. So
I think there's only, to be fair, I think what might help United in this is that Ten Hag will probably be able to. There's only so many former Ajax players that he can go for before maybe you have to look elsewhere, because he may as well just put his United kit on Ajax players. Like that's not doing something new, is it? Like, because I remember
That coming out with white sleeves though.
Yeah, isn't that the first thing Klopp said when he signed for Liverpool? Was like, because someone asked him, didn't they? Like, are you going to bring in the face at Dortmund, who I think probably the year before been Champions League fan? It's like, no, that is like, I'm literally not going to bring any of them over. Like, said that right from the start. Like, we're building something different. I think it's quite interesting. I think Ten Hag would probably benefit from that structure, to be honest with you, but I just don't think he's got the support from the terraces anymore.
I think, though, going back to your point of fans, I think your two clubs have been in the same situation because, Liam, I remember when you was in the Premier League and a lot of Bolton fans was like, we hate long ball, stop this long throwing shit. I know you wasn't. I know you wasn't, but there were a lot of us.
Stuff up now. You're
No.
just making. You don't
And
talk
then-
to any of the Bolton fans except me. So you're just making stuff up now.
Okay, you definitely said there was definitely a lot of fans like that.
I'm sure
And then
someone
your
may have
side-
said it at some point. Yes.
Your side then, Naylor. But we know what happened to Wenger, so
Yeah, but we used to being successful. Bolton, what you're talking about with Bolton was their most successful period ever. Well, we were in the bottom of a big old slump. Years of underspending and cutting corners and giving players shit contracts and stuff like that. And yes, some of the fans turned.
It's an interesting comparison, though, Bolton and Leicester. I suppose the only key difference is Allardyce fell out with the manager and left. I don't think he had very much still the support of the Bolton fans. You're probably right. There were some made-up dissenting voices that you were hearing, Luke. Maybe some imaginary friends at that time you were a bit weird about then. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of it went to shit quite quickly. We became a club waiting for relegation after that, I would say. We had a brief revival for a year under Owen Coyle, but then, obviously, at some point you need tactics, and then so he kind of went by the wayside as well. So there is something in that where you have such an infrastructure around a certain playing style and you try and change it. It's a very dangerous time for a club.
Yeah, and it's zero like the Arsenal situation, so that's a cool reference to that. So, West Ham, Liam. There's no fix here. They've tried to fix it. We just got to let them see how they get on with it. But we think they've fucked it here.
David to come back. That's the fix. Beg on your knees and beg, or just maybe get him back in March when they need him again, because Lopetegui's fallen out with the board again because he thinks that his team's not good enough, or that X, Y, Z has happened and other clubs interested in. He's a quitter. He quits managerial jobs. That's what Lopetegui does.
He will throw a strap.
I won't have gone near him with a metaphorical barge pole, to be honest. I don't like him. I think he's a good manager. I think he quit Spain because Real Madrid came sniffing around. Even though he could have waited 3 months and he could have had that job. he quit Wolves because he didn't think the team was good enough. I think Gary O'Neill, stepping in with a fucking day's notice, has done a pretty good job with that squad.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got a bit of attitude. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see this ending well, to be honest.
No, I don't. I could see Moyes being back for a third time, a third go around. But yeah, it's and like the fact that they was sniffing around Amarin as well. There's a lot, and he's even come out and said that he apologised for going speaking to him. He apologised to, is it Porto? He apologised to the fans for going speaking to West Ham. So
it'll be interesting to see where he ends up, because he seems destined to go. As does Jacques, because I was reading quotes by him today, basically saying, I love it at Sporting, but who knows what the future holds. So basically, I want to leave Sporting. You may as well have just said that. Like,
yeah,
that's, you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see where they both end up, to be fair.
So what do West Ham fans want then? What is it they want?
Who the fuck knows? Fuck knows, Lee. They want
the
Pep
age-old
Guardiola.
question.
Do they want free-flowing football and then finish below? Well, the ninth now. So what do they want?
But they've arguably had that at times this season, especially when like Kudus went through a really good patch of form. Like Bowen's been great all season. They've played good football this season. So I don't know. I don't know how anyone can be. I'm keen to. I'm not sure. I don't know if any of you know, but what Moyes' contract situation was before they've announced this. Whether he had any, contract was up anyway, or this is a.
I think there was a lot of talk last year whether he was going to get a new contract after they won, and he didn't get one. I remember that being a thing. You know, as soon as he won it, like, is Moyes now going to get a new contract? And it sort of didn't really materialise. So I think it was. From the outside, it looks like all this has been done behind David Moyes' back, but we don't really know that. He may have known for some time that he was going, to be fair. So I don't want to get into that, because I'd be very surprised if he didn't know maybe a few weeks ago that he was going. I'd be interested to know if the players knew if he was going. What do you think, Luke?
I don't know.
He wasn't listening. He was looking at something else.
I'm just looking at defensive record.
Oh, another. Is he looking at another screen, Liam? Is that what he's doing? Diluting the podcast with his minute wisdom holder.
But funny you should say though. I'm just looking at a good start, and it's
Don't
still
care.
West Ham.
This bit isn't going in, so don't care.
West Ham are lowest XG for goals conceded.
And what do we call that, Liam?
That is the talk of XG files.
Yeah, XG is the most stupid stat in the world. I did hear one fun XG stat though, that the other week when Nottingham Forest played City, Chris Wood had a higher XG than the whole of Man City. It's fucking shit. I'm pinning my hopes on that stiff idiot.
It's actually weird that Chris Wood won, because I remember a lot of the XG files were talking about how his XG was actually unbelievably low compared to the amount of goals that he'd scored prior to that game. Like he'd scored an immense amount of goals from his chances, something on those lines. And that game completely ruined it for him.
Yeah, he had like a 2.1 XG. They got beat 3-0. Right, we'll leave it there. No one knows what West Ham fans want. They can fix themselves. So, Liam, this is going out Tuesday, so you'll be at the match tonight. Good luck. Let's hope Bolton get to Wembley.
Yes, I'm very, very nervous. We'll see what happens. I think we'll be okay. I'm sure Luke will let me know the score if we're not.
Oh, he might just make it up. That's what he's been good at this episode. So
can you give me some more like Bolton Wanderers fans' opinions on this season? Like, just make them up as he goes on.
Not
you
this
remember
season.
when?
Couldn't care less this season.
Apart from the financial stake you've put on it, which is
exactly
any bet you've put on football before.
And so Man United were playing tonight. Next week we'll be reviewing United v Arsenal. and then we'll be counting down to the final day of the Premier League season and also the playoff final, which hopefully Bolton will have wrapped up with, and Liam will be on his way to Wembley. So there's lots coming up.
We won't be preparing for the playoff final if we're not in it. I'm not previewing like a fucking Barnsley versus Oxford game with no stake in it. So either we're in it and we'll preview it, or it's not happening. It never existed.
That's what I was being optimistic and hopeful.
I know, but you don't want to do it too much.
Yeah, I do.
I'm quite. Fate.
See, this is where we're different. One of many ways. Right. Thank you everyone for listening. Please share or leave a comment because it helps us in the algorithm and helps people find us. Please rate it on Spotify or Apple, wherever you're listening to it, if you're just doing the audio. And subscribe if you're listening or watching on YouTube. It helps us, it helps the channel grow, it helps us continue to do it, and helps other people find it. So if you like it, share it and subscribe and give it a thumbs up.
And we're doing really well on that front, aren't we? We've had quite a lot of subscribers recently, haven't we?
Loads. Yep. I'm sure you've checked the stats, but the subscribers are piling in. So you have to fight your way through the crowd of people trying to hit the subscribe button and do your best to join in. Please, give us a share, any comments, stuff like that. You can find all the information at www.fixingfootballpodcast.com. You can find links to every episode there. And we'll catch you on the next one. Say bye, boys.
Just before we go...
I said say bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Ta-ra.